The ingredients that I'm going to need today to make my mango achar are of course my green mangoes, and you have to use green mangoes for this or else the achar will be too mushy and it's not going to get the same sour taste that achar is known for. I also have a little bit of amchar masala as well as some salt. Now the amchar masala is sort of my addition to the achar. My grandmother doesn't use this, but I like the taste that it gives. I also have some wiri peppers and some garlic. You can use whatever type of hot pepper you want. You can even use Scotch bonnets for this. It tastes really good as well. And the two main spices is some mangrile seeds as well as some whole cumin seeds. Now both of these are going to be parched and then they're going to be ground up into a fine powder. So if you guys want to see how to grind spices into a fine powder, you guys can check out my video where I ground geera for you guys. So I'll have it linked right up here so you guys can see it. It's the same preparation if you're doing the mangrile. You're going to have to wash the seeds, parch them, and then go ahead and grind them. And the last ingredient I need is some mustard oil. Now when you're buying mustard oil, you want to make sure when you open the package to smell it and make sure it doesn't smell rancid or rank at all, because if it does, that means the mustard oil is not a good quality. This one that I have here is great quality. I went ahead and I smelled it. It smelled perfect, and I'm going to go ahead and use it in my achar today. The first step when making your mango achar is to prepare all of the mangoes. So what I did first was I peeled both of my mangoes that I have here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grate it on the largest side of my grater. So if you're using the box grater, you'd want to use the biggest side. But I have a grater that's handheld just like this, so I'm going to use this one. So all you want to do is grate that mango. And you want to grate both of them, and you want to grate all the way down to the seed and discard the seed. And I'm going to come back and show you guys what we do next. Once you've finished grating all your mango, it's time to go ahead and squeeze all of the juice out of it. Now the reason why we squeeze the juice out of it is because if we were to just put this dish together while the mango is really juicy like this, it can actually start to ferment and get a rancid taste. So you do not want that because it's going to spoil on you. So you want to take a small amount and get a kitchen cloth, or you can get something thin like a cheesecloth, and you're just going to put a little amount in between. You're going to close it up. And then you're going to squeeze all of that juice out of it. And you're going to see a lot of juice come out. And you want to keep squeezing until you get most of that juice out. And for the most part, the mango is dry inside. So I'm going to continue doing this for the rest of the batch. And then I'll come back and show you guys what the squeezed mango looks like. I finished squeezing out all of my mango. And as you guys can see, it's much drier than it was before. It's not very wet and clumpy now. And as you guys can see, all of this liquid was left. And this liquid you just want to discard because you can't use it in the achar. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this mango, and you have a few choices. You could put it in the fridge for about 2 days and it'll dry up really nice. Or you could put it out in the sun for a couple of hours, maybe over the course of a day or two, just until you see that the mango dries out for the most part. You don't want it to be super dry and crispy, but you don't want it to be as wet as it is right now. You want it to dry out just a little more. You could also leave it outside overnight in your house, because if you have the air conditioner on, that air will help dry the mango as well. So you have those choices. I'm going to go ahead and probably stick it in my fridge for about 2 days, and I'm going to leave it out on my counter as well. I'm going to alternate, so this way my mango can dry out a little more. And once it dries out, I'm going to come back and show you guys what it looks like. Once you put your grated and your squeezed mangoes to dry, you can go ahead and start working on the spices. It's great just to get all of the prep work out of the way. So this way, once everything comes together, you can just mix it all together and then you can start eating your achar. So these are the mangrile seeds right here. And if I were to open the package, they're very fine black seeds and they look exactly like black sesame seeds, but they're not, obviously. And this is what they look like once they've been patched or parched and then ground. They're very dark. Much darker than the cumin or the geera seeds once they're parched and ground. This one has a nice deep brown color. So if you guys want to see how I parch and grind all of the spices, go ahead and check out my geera video where I showed you guys how to parch it and then grind it. I'm going to have that video in the description box down below, and it was in the right hand corner in the beginning of the video when I had first mentioned it. So basically the process is simple. Once you take it out of the package, you wash all of the seeds. And the reason why I do that, that's the way my grandmother taught me, is because sometimes when they're in the packaging, they tend to have little impurities on them when they were packaged. So I like to wash those off. And then once you wash those off, you're going to put it out onto a tray. Let them dry a bit. They don't have to be completely dry, but once that's done, you're going to put it into a heavy bottom skillet and parch or toast them over a medium heat until they achieve a really nice dark color. Now for the mangrile seeds, when you're parching them, a little tip. You're not going to know when they're really parched because they're so black already, you won't know if they get any darker. But what you're going to see is they're going to start to smoke up a lot, and those seeds are actually going to be much drier than they were because remember, since you washed them, they had a little moisture in them. So that's what you want to look out for when you're parching the seeds. My rule of thumb when parching seeds or spices is usually about 15 to 20 minutes on a medium-low heat. That usually works out for me, but of course the time will vary depending on the color that you like or the heat of your stove. So once again, I'll have that video in the description box down below for you guys. Check it out and you'll see in depth how I did that and how I grind all of these spices. So since I have them ready for me already, I already ground them, I'm going to go ahead and just put my dish together once those mangoes are done drying.
Once you've prepared the mango as well as all of the spices for the mango achar, it is time to prepare the other seasonings. So into my food processor, I'm adding in my garlic cloves, my wiri peppers or your peppers of choice, and I'm going in with just a little bit of my mustard oil. Now, the reason why I'm using mustard oil versus any water to grind up these ingredients is because if you were to use water, it's going to make your achar spoil, and that is not what you want. And I'm also not using all of the mustard oil because I might not need this full amount of mustard oil throughout this whole process. When you add in the mustard oil to your achar, as you guys are going to see later, it's all about gauging how much oil you would like in a dish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pulse these until the garlic as well as the hot pepper are nice and fine. Alright guys, so all of the components of my mango achar are done being prepped, and at this point I just wanted to show you guys what the dried out mango looks like. As you guys can see, it has just a little bit of moisture to it, but for the most part it is dried out. I left it out on my counter and I alternated between that and my fridge to dry it out over the span of about a day and a half. What I'm doing now, once you have your mango in your bowl, you're going to go in with all of your garlic and pepper mixture. Remember, I used some of that mustard oil. Once you add in that garlic, pepper, and mustard oil mixture, you're going to go in with some salt to taste. And once you go in with all of your salt, you're going to add in all of the spices on top of it. So the amchar masala, which is optional, as I said before, it's my addition. You're going to also go on with your mangrile, and you're going to go on with your ground geera or your ground cumin. And once you add in all of those spices, you are going to top it with some more mustard oil to help wet the whole dish, and you want to get all of the mango coated in that mustard oil. Now, I wanted to mention, although I'm providing all of my proportions in the description box down below of all of my ingredients and the measurements, you're definitely going to want to play around with all of these spices and the salt and all of the different ingredients. The reason being is because every time I go to somebody's house and they have homemade achar, I've always had the flavor be different from everyone. So you're definitely going to want to play around with it and make it as per your taste. So you're going to mix all of this around until everything is combined. Once you finish mixing all of those ingredients and everything is combined, you're going to pour all of your achar into a mason jar or any airtight glass container. Now, of course, before you do this, you're going to give it a taste. Make sure it has enough salt, enough pepper, enough garlic, and all of those spices. Once you add it into your container, you're going to pour some more mustard oil on top because this has to stay wet with the mustard oil at all times. If it starts to dry out, then the shelf life will lower and it can actually start to spoil. So you can use this achar for almost anything. You can use it for bara, any other fried snacks, or alongside your food items. This achar will stay for a really long time as long as you leave it in this airtight container. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a nice big thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and make sure to leave your comments down below. I'll see you guys again very soon.